The power of the mind is something we often underestimate. Yet, it is our thoughts and beliefs that shape how we see the world and, ultimately, how we experience it. Have you ever felt that life's challenges seem overwhelming, like no matter what you do, things don't go your way? You might blame circumstances, people around you, or simply bad luck. But what if the problem isn't out there, but inside your mind? Today I want to share with you a Zen story that reveals a profound truth about the power of mindset and how it can change everything. Ravi was like many of us, hardworking, determined, and eager to make something of his life. But despite his efforts, he always felt like he was hitting a wall. Every failure seemed to stack on top of the last, and his dreams of success, peace, and happiness were slipping further away. He was in his late 20s, living in a bustling city where competition was fierce. From a young age, he was taught that hard work would bring success. But after years of trying, Ravi found himself standing at a crossroads. He had tried different jobs, pursued various passions, and yet, each time he got close to something good, it seemed to crumble. Ravi's internal dialogue was harsh. He would often say things like, "I'm not good enough, why does this always happen to me?" Or "I'll never be successful." These thoughts played on repeat in his mind. No matter how hard he tried to improve his situation, he felt weighed down by his own doubts and insecurities. It seemed as though life was conspiring against him. One day, after yet another disappointment, Ravi sat in his small apartment, feeling utterly defeated. He stared out of the window, watching the rain pour down on the streets below. The sound of the rain usually calmed him, but today it mirrored the storm in his mind. Frustrated, he grabbed his jacket and decided to take a walk to clear his head. As he wandered aimlessly through the streets, Ravi's mind was flooded with negative thoughts. He couldn't see a way out of the constant failures that plagued him. What was he doing wrong? Why did everything seem so difficult? Ravi continued walking until he found himself in front of a small, quiet temple nestled between the towering city buildings. He had passed this temple many times but had never gone inside. Today, something drew him in. Maybe it was the stillness that contrasted with the noise in his head, or maybe it was the hope that he could find some answers. Inside the temple, the air was calm, filled with the scent of burning incense. Ravi noticed an old man sitting in the corner, meditating peacefully. The man wore simple robes, his face calm and serene, as though nothing in the world could disturb his inner peace. Ravi hesitated, but then, feeling desperate for guidance, approached the man. "Excuse me," he said quietly. "I don't mean to disturb you, but I need help." The old man slowly opened his eyes and looked at Ravi with kindness. "Sit with me," he said, motioning to the spot next to him. Ravi sat down, unsure of how to begin. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "I've been trying to make something of my life for years, but no matter how hard I try, I keep failing. I'm always stressed, and it feels like I'm trapped in this cycle of bad luck and disappointment." The old man listened patiently, his expression unchanged. "It seems," he said slowly, "that your mind is heavy with doubt." Ravi nodded, feeling a little embarrassed. "I guess so," he admitted. "But how can I not doubt myself? Everything I've tried has failed. It's hard to stay positive when nothing works." The old man smiled softly. "Let me show you something," he said. He stood up and led Ravi to a small table where a simple teapot and a cup sat. The man picked up the teapot and began pouring tea into the cup. Ravi watched as the cup filled, but the man didn't stop. The tea soon overflowed, spilling onto the table and onto the floor. "Stop," Ravi exclaimed. "The cup is full. It can't hold any more." The old man stopped pouring and looked at Ravi. "Exactly," he said. "Your mind is like this cup, overflowing with negative thoughts and doubts. You keep trying to add more and more efforts, more strategies, but there is no room. Until you empty your mind of the negative thoughts that fill it, nothing new can enter. No matter how hard you try, your efforts will spill over. Wasted." Ravi was silent, absorbing the metaphor. "But how do I do that?" he asked. "How do I empty my mind?" The old man gestured for Ravi to sit again. Let me tell you a story, he said. There were once two farmers in a village, both of them hard-working men. One morning, a terrible storm rolled in, with rain pouring down and winds howling through the fields. The first farmer looked out his window and cursed the storm. "This rain is ruining my crops," he said. "All my hard work will go to waste." He spent the entire day fuming, angry at the world for the misfortune he believed had befallen him. The second farmer, however, looked at the same storm and smiled. "This rain is just what my crops need," he said. "The earth will be nourished, and my harvest will be plentiful." He spent the day in gratitude, thankful for the rain that would help his crops grow. The storm was the same for both farmers, yet their experiences of it were completely different. One saw misfortune, the other saw opportunity. The difference was not in the storm, but in their minds. The old man paused and looked at Ravi. "Your challenges are like the storm. They come whether you want them to or not. You cannot control the storms of life, but you can control how you see them. If your mind is filled with negativity, you will see only obstacles. But if your mind is open, you will see opportunities where others see difficulty." Ravi sat in silence, reflecting on the Zen master's words. He realized that his mind had been filled with so many negative thoughts, self-doubt, fear, frustration, that there was no space for anything positive. Every failure, every challenge he faced, he had seen as a reflection of his inadequacy, rather than as an opportunity to grow. For the first time in a long time, Ravi felt a sense of clarity. He understood that the real battle wasn't against the world or circumstances, it was within his own mind. He needed to change the way he saw his challenges. Instead of seeing them as proof of his failure, he could choose to see them as lessons, as opportunities to learn and grow. "I understand now," Ravi said quietly. "It's not the circumstances that are holding me back. It's the way I've been seeing them." The Zen master smiled again, his eyes filled with wisdom. "Yes," he said. "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is the power of mindset." Over the next few weeks, Ravi began to apply the Zen master's teachings to his life. Every time a challenge arose, instead of reacting with frustration or fear, he paused. He reminded himself that his mindset was the key to how he experienced the challenge. At first, it wasn't easy. His old habits of negative thinking were deeply ingrained. But with practice, Ravi began to notice a shift. He started to see his setbacks not as failures but as steps on his journey. Each challenge became an opportunity to grow, to learn something new about himself and the world. For example, when a project at work fell through, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, Ravi took it as a chance to reevaluate his approach. He asked himself what he could learn from the experience and how he could improve for the future. This mindset shift allowed him to remain calm and focused, even in the face of adversity. Ravi also began practicing mindfulness, something the Zen master had encouraged him to do. Each morning he would sit quietly, focusing on his breath, letting go of any negative thoughts that arose. This simple practice helped him cultivate a sense of inner peace and clarity. It became easier to maintain a positive mindset throughout the day. Slowly but surely, Ravi's life began to change. Not because his circumstances were drastically different, but because he was different. His mindset had shifted, and with it, his entire experience of life. Ravi's story is one that many of us can relate to. We all face challenges in life, and it's easy to get trapped in a cycle of negative thinking. But as Ravi learned from the Zen master, the true power to change our lives lies within our minds. When we shift our mindset, when we choose to see challenges as opportunities instead of obstacles, everything changes. The storms of life will come whether we want them to or not. But how we experience those storms is entirely up to us. Will we curse the rain, or will we see it as nourishment for our growth? As the Buddha once said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become, so take control of your thoughts and unlock the limitless potential within you. If Ravi's story resonated with you, and you're ready to shift your mindset and embrace life's challenges as opportunities for growth, start by practicing mindfulness today. Spend a few minutes each morning focusing on your breath, letting go of negative thoughts, and setting a positive intention for the day. Remember, the power to change your life lies within your own mind.